Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your presence here today. We've gathered here in our congregation, in our sanctuary, to pay tribute to a very special woman who is actively engaged and involved in our congregation. Most typically, the rabbi would open with a nice Jewish prayer, but I'm going to read something else because this speaks of Renee. I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore, and I know too much to go back and pretend, because I've heard it all before, and I've been down there on the floor. No one's ever gonna keep me down again. I am strong, I am invincible, I am woman. Renee Markus was short in stature, but she was huge in character, in loyalty, in compassion, in caring for other people. And we are here today to pay tribute to this woman and a remarkable life. Cantor is going to begin our service with Adonai Ma'adam V'Tedaehu.
Adonai Ma'adam V'Tedaehu Ben Enosh V'Techashvehu Adam Lahevel Dama Yamav Kitzel Hover Baboker Yatzit V'Chalav La'erev Yimolel V'Yavesh Tashev Enosh Ad Daka V'Atomer Shuvu B'nei Adam Shuvu B'nei Adam Shuvu B'nei Adam.
Well, God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to return to the dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures." Thank you all who've joined us here this afternoon in our sanctuary and those on the live stream to pay tribute to Renee Markus. Renee was a long-time and very involved member of our community. And our condolences go out to all of her family, to Alan and Lauren, to David and Penny, to Karen and Eric, to the grandchildren, Jessica, Samantha, Emma, Stephen, Shayla, Allison, and Olivia, her sister-in-law, Ruth. To all of you, our deepest condolences on behalf of our community and our personal condolences from Rabbi Keller, Cantor Muchnick, and I, the loss of a woman who was always so welcome to see here in the community and in the congregation. It is our tradition to share words of psalms. Words of psalms, our sages tell us, literally lift the soul to heaven. And words of psalms are meant to provide us comfort and consolation. So Rabbi Keller is going to continue with a selection of psalms.
It's believed that the Psalms have this comfort. These Psalms, there are 150 of them. They come from the book of Psalms, and in each of them is special. Each of them is used for specific moments in our lives. There are ones that we use that match for certain Torah portions. There are ones that we use at weddings, at births, at the brisses, at these wonderful high celebratory moments in our lives. But there are also psalms that are written for us to reflect and to connect, and for us to find ways to be together, for us to be available and love and hug and be with the people who are mourning, the people who are in deep mourning and sadness. And so we ask you to help bring God's presence to them with the hugs and the kisses and the phone calls. And also we share these words with you from the book of Psalms. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimeni bal emot. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift, says Psalm 16. אשרי האיש אשר לא הלך בעצת רשעים ובדרך חטאים לא עמד. Happy are those who have not followed the counsel of the wicked, or taken the path of sinners, or joined the company of the insolent. Rather, the teaching of God is their delight, and they study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water that yields its fruits in season, whose foliage never fades and whose fruit always flourishes, says Psalm number 1. And words from Ecclesiastes. לכל זמן ועת, לכל חפץ תחת השמיים, עת ללדת ועת למות. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and the time to speak.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני ראוי לו אחסר, בינות דשא ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי ישובב, נפשי ישובב, ינחני ומגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צלמוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, נגד צוררי. דשנת ושמן ראשי, דשנת ושמן ראשי, דשנת ושמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני, ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me to lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul. God, you guide me in straight paths for your name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You've anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This beautiful psalm, the psalmist hints to us of Olam Haba, the world to come, heaven, Garden of Eden, paradise, lying down in green pastures and led by still waters, with the assurance again that God restores the soul. For our tradition understands and believes that the soul is eternal. Renee's soul is alive and vital this moment, bound up in the bonds of eternal life with God. It is only the physical vessel which will be laid to rest. I hope and pray knowing that she knows peace and tranquility, serenity, brings a modicum of comfort and consolation. I want to share with you a selection from the book of Proverbs, traditionally read by a husband to his wife on Friday night. It's entitled Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. A woman of valor who can find. She is more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm, all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works willingly with her hands. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to the poor. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. Laws of kindness are on her lips. She oversees the activities of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. I know of no greater and fitting tribute to Renee than that selection from Proverbs. And her children indeed want to rise up and bless her and praise her name, as do many others. So we have several people we are going to hear from today. Here's the order. You can follow each other up one after the other. First, Ronnie Young from our congregation, president of Sisterhood, who knew Renee so well, and Paul Ehrman, member of Renee's Chavurah group. The two of them will come up, followed by Renee's nephew, John, then her grandson, Stephen, followed by her son-in-law, Eric, followed by her son, Alan, then her son, David, and finally her daughter, Karen. Rana, Paul.
I guess Paul's going to follow me. Is that where you want to come? I'm Rana Young, and this is Paul Ehrman. We've been in a Chavurah group with Renee for almost 10 years. Renee and I also had a weekly mahjong game. So what can I tell you about Renee? We had fun. She was fun. We did a lot of things together. It generally involved eating. We'd go out to eat. We'd get together at someone's house for the holidays. Renee was a fabulous cook. So if we weren't eating at her house, she'd say, "What can I bring?" And we would all say, "Bring dessert," because Renee's desserts were the best. We did other things. Facebook showed me a memory where we all got tickets and we went to see Matisyahu. I don't know if everyone knows who Matisyahu is, but he's a Jewish reggae. It's beatboxing, hip hop, not exactly the kind of music that we grew up with. We thought the performance was a little strange, so we left a bit early so we could go out to get something to eat. We did projects together. I may have twisted Renee's arm to join the Sisterhood board. I didn't have to twist it like really hard. One of the things I asked her to do as a board member was plan a program. And Renee went right out. She got speakers. We had a date. And the program was going to be on sex trafficking. The day our publicity was supposed to go out from the CBI office, I got an email. Our program wasn't appropriate, so we had to cancel it. Now, I don't know if they thought we were planning a program on how to have sex. That was not it. After some further discussion with the CBI program office, we got a new date. Renee rebooked our speakers. I remember that Karen, Renee's daughter, came to the program, and you said it was really worthwhile, and it was. Renee got me to join National Council of Jewish Women. She was in charge of eye screening for National Council, so I went and did the eye screening at CBI for the preschool. National Council, pre-pandemic, also used to have a lovely annual lunch. And one time for the lunch, Renee picked me up. We had a great time. At the end of the lunch, Renee looks at me and says, "Can you take my car keys? My back's bothering me, so I can't walk to the parking lot." So I said, "Sure." Now, I drove a little subcompact, a little itty-bitty car. Renee drove a big sedan. I thought it was a little iffy if we were going to make it home. We did, laughing all the way. Some people just make the world a better, brighter, happier place. That was Renee, and it won't be the same without her.
Hi, I'm Paul Ehrman. You stole my thunder. Yes, 10 years ago, my wife, Myra, who unfortunately couldn't be here, decided that we wanted a Havara. We had one up in Toronto, where we were originally from, and we put together a list of 35 people. Well, that list got whittled down very quickly, but one person that seemed not to fit always was there. She wasn't a boomer. She wasn't still, she wasn't with a spouse, and she just kept on coming, and she was a big, big part of our lives. She brought us into her home. We sampled the wares of her kitchen, and I know that there are legions of dentists lamenting her passing. I also know that she made certain, as Rana mentioned, that the cliche of old Jewish women playing mahjong was passed on to the next generation. And her voice will be forever lost. May I finally say that if you have not a Havara or friendship group, may I suggest that you put one together, because if you're lucky, you may find your own Renee, and your life will be that much richer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm her nephew, John, and I wish I'd prepared something. I haven't worn a tie in a long time, and getting this suit on this morning was like putting on a wetsuit. It's like a full-body tourniquet, but nothing but the best for my Aunt Renee. she gave me the greatest family. I don't have kids, so people might not know. But I live for this family. I love my cousins so much. And they married so well. And the kids are incredible. And she gave Dad and I a place to go. Every single year, every single holiday. Anyway, I just want to thank you, Aunt Renee, for giving me the greatest family in the world. I love you guys.
Hey guys. I'm Steven. I'm her grandson. When I was in 4th grade, they just found this. I wrote about the most inspirational person in my life, and it was Grandma. It was my grandma. I'm gonna read it to you. I know I might have some bad grammar, but I was in 4th grade, so I'm just gonna read it. And so you had to write it a certain way, so if it may sound like a little essay, it was Florida made you write it like this. If you're a teacher, you get it. All right. Grandma Renee, can you please come up to the stage to receive your award? I'd like to say a few words about this wonderful person who is very special to me and so many other people. The super duper totally amazing Grandma Award goes to my grandma because she's fun, supportive, and warm-hearted. To begin with, when I'm with my grandma, we have so much fun. Every time I stay at her house, we watch all the sports games and on TV, and we're both die-hard Yankee fans. You should hear her when she screams when Alex Rodriguez hits a home run when he was on the team. Besides watching TV, we cook. She helps me measure the right ingredients for her homemade chocolate brownies. Together, we eat them, sharing looks of happiness. Another reason Grandma Renee earns this award is because she's supportive. Right before every basketball game, she gives me a pep talk to do my best. After each game, Grandma would shout, "I knew you could do it." Grandma Renee comes to all my games and supports me when I do something good. She sits in the front row of the bleachers and always cheers, including everyone else. Lastly, Grandma Renee is warm-hearted. Every night, she scratched my back. It felt so good. I don't know. Also, when I was sick as a dog, she took care of me the whole day. She made delicious chicken soup. I love that she hung out with me even though I had a cold. In conclusion, don't you all agree that Grandma Renee should get this award because she's a lot of fun, very supportive, and warm-hearted? Everybody stand up, make some noise for my special grandma.
Excuse me. Got everybody's phone but myself. Shayla.
Just have to bring something up, excuse me. It might not work, so I guess I'll just have to go with it. Hi, I'm Eric Handis, Renee's son-in-law, but really, as she told me, for her son, one of her 3 sons. When I married Karen close to 24 years ago, I didn't just get to marry the love of my life. I also got to another mother, 2 brothers, and a player to be named later. It's a joke. I'm a crazy sports fan, and like Renee was as well. So go Giants. It's the New York Giants, football, and the Yankees. That's for you, Renee. In the last few months, like I said, she told me I wasn't her son-in-law. I was her son. And she told me that she loved me, and I loved her a lot too. She was also my friend, always asking me how my job was going and how I was doing, and I would call her a few times a week by myself to chat and catch up like I do with most of my close friends. I would greatly miss her saying, "What's doing?" and "What's for supper?" Supper, people still use that word. She also taught me a lot about life, which I would like to share with you. First, about kindness. I know a lot of people. And she was definitely, hands down, the kindest person I ever met. Me and Shayla would often comment about this, whether it be a waiter at a restaurant, a maintenance worker in her building, someone at the temple, or a complete stranger. She was always kind. Thank you, Renee, because you've made me a kinder person, and I will always be kind to people because of you. I ask that we all learn from Renee and to be kind to others whenever you have the opportunity to do so. You'll be amazed at how much of a difference that will make in their lives, and it is just so easy to do. She was also always positive, even when in terrible pain after her shoulder surgery and when her leg was hurting her in agony. She was positive, and she never complained. It was unbelievable. I never can understand it. But there was only one way to be in her mind, and that was positive. There wasn't an alternative. So when you've had a crappy day or something happens that isn't good, think of Renee and be positive. This is the part I was trying to bring up, but I'll just have to improvise this. Before I go, I want to share a short song as a tribute to Renee. This is going to be tough. Let me think of it. Maybe I'll just read it. Y-A-N-K-E-E-S. Here come the Yankees. Let's get behind and cheer the Yankees. They're going to learn to fear the Yankees. Everyone knows they play to win cause they're the New York Yankees. Show them today why you're the Yankees. No other way when you're the Yankees. What do you say? We win a brand new ball game. We're going to shout when they powder the ball. We're going to scream, put it over the wall. The other team's going to know what it means to play the Y-A-N-K-E-E-S, the Yankees. We love the Yankees. Shout it out loud. We love the Yankees. We're really proud of our Yankees, and we're going to win today. Renee, I will always love you. I thank God for the relationship we had. And I will live on your legacy of being kind and positive. I'll miss you so much.
It's a little hard to follow my brother there with the Yankees thing. but I'm sure Mom just loved hearing that. I have a reading that from Jean Damascene, and I want to take the time to say that I'm going to change around a little bit, so I hope Jean does not get mad at me. At birth, we boarded the train of life and met our parents, and we believed they would always travel by our side. However, at some station, our parents would step down from the train, leaving us on life's journey alone. As time goes by, some significant people will board the train. Siblings, other children, friends, and even the love of our life. And for Mom, that was our dad. Many will step down and leave a permanent vacuum, a vacant seat, if you will. And Mom kept Dad's seat the rest of her life. I can imagine people coming up to her on the train and saying, "Hey, do you have that seat?" And my mom would say, "Nope, sorry. That seat is taken and will always be." Others may go unnoticed that we won't realize they've vacated their seat. This train ride for Mom has been a mixture of joy and sorrow, fantasy, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, and farewells. Mom had a great train ride, filled with travel to places all over the world, many of them on my to-do list. Russia with Dad, Turkey, Australia, New Zealand, Spain, Prague, Poland, and China. As many of you know, she was, as you just heard, a very avid New York Yankees fan. And I used to kid I was the only Jewish son in the world whose mother would say, "I'm sorry, I can't talk, my Yankees are on, so I'll have to get back to you later." My favorite memory of Mom revolves around baseball. She came out to Arizona to the All-Star game in 2011. We did all the activities that people do at All-Star games, meeting the stars of the game, getting autographs, but we were all selected to be part of the group to hold the American flag in the outfield during the opening ceremonies. Mom got to stand in the outfield and told me it was the only time she ever been on a Major League Baseball field. And she got to see all of her favorite Yankee players all lined up for the start of the game. And she even got to meet a few of them as we were waiting to come out onto the field. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks staff, that member was a little worried about Mom carrying the flag with us. He told her, "Now, if you fall down, don't try to stand up in the middle of the field underneath the flag. Just stay down." But if you know Renee, if you know my mom, she wasn't so spry, but she was not going to fall down once that guy said that. My mom was a strong passenger on this train of life. When Dad passed suddenly, even through her grief, she found a way to continue to make sure her kids continued on their train journey, getting us through college and medical school and making sure we were taken care of. We almost lost Mom once before when she had severe pneumonia after having been diagnosed with a severe muscle disease, but the strong woman she was fought through that, and we got to keep her on our train journey for many more years. And that is who Mom was. A successful journey consists of having good relationships with all the passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. If this is true, then Mom had more than a successful journey, as she had wonderful relationships with her friends, with her family, and almost everyone she met, from the person who served her at the deli to the people on the board of the National Council of Jewish Women in the Temple. The mystery that prevails is that we do not know which station we ourselves will step down. Thus we must travel along the track of life in the best possible way, loving, forgiving, giving, and sharing. And if you know those words, you know those words describe Mom. When the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who continue to travel on this train of life. And let's thank God for giving us life to participate in this journey. And I close by thanking you, Mom, for being one of the passengers on our train.
I should get my glasses. As we say goodbye to Mom today, I want to share a bit about the special relationship we had, her and me, and all that she meant to me. Much of who I am today is because of her. The way she acted in the world and the way she loved all of us, me, our extended family, and her friends. I hope that I can continue to strive to live up to her example, especially in terms of how she was with people. Over the last 35 years, since the passing of my dad, the basis of our relationship in adulthood was about shared passions. Mom was the one that I would turn to share my adventures, joys, and struggles, and she was always there for me. I also tried to always be there for her, no matter how far away I was living. But it was our shared love of cooking, travel, and learning that drew us close and taught me some of the most important lessons in my life. I would like to share some of that with you and why I will always cherish the memories and lessons she taught me and why I will miss her so much. First and foremost, you've heard from a lot of people. She loved to cook. Well, she passed that on to me. We cooked together all the time. She fed this love for many years with handmade cookbooks, discussions over new recipes, and a yearly subscription to Bon Appetit that led to lots of wonderful cakes for my daughters and food in our house. When she would come to Durham, we would go to cooking school together, cooking classes at Southern Seasons. And we'd go in there, and then the chef who had written multiple cookbooks, she'd walk up and say, "Hey, Rick, how you doing?" She knew these guys because she had been at cooking classes with them before. She taught me that cooking for others is an expression of love. And this is as true for me every morning. When I cook for my kids or when I make dinners for friends, I bring that same love she brought to her cooking. A second shared passion we had was travel. I'm not just sure. Ooh.
Simon.
Wow, there you go. I'm not sure whether I inspired her passion for travel or if she inspired mine, but we were each other's biggest supporters and cheerleaders. Wherever she wanted to go, you heard about some of her trips from Alan. I remember one time she wasn't doing so well health-wise, wanted to go to Spain on one last trip, and she was nervous about it. She came to me and said, "David, what do you think?" You could tell she just wanted to go. She wanted to have that experience. And I supported her in that, and she got to go. And it was hard, but she loved it. So these trips that she took, she had the courage as a single person to go with couples because she knew she was kind and generous, and she'd always find someone there, and she would never be alone. And if she was having a hard time, people would support her because of who she was. Finally, I've been inspired by Mom's passion for learning, which all of us in the family share. As a kid, I looked at my dad, who had the academic training, as the inspiration, but my mom never shied away from a chance to learn. Whether it was how to run a business after his death, or the political lecture series, the film lecture series, she always was out there learning, and she's an inspiration to me in that too. She taught me that there is nothing you can't do or learn if you try hard enough and are open to the experience. The final and most important thing I've learned from my mom and hope that I can live up to is that real success does not come from your accomplishments. It is from the number and depth of relationships with family and friends you have. In my 20s, I was sometimes jealous of all the friends who would come to the house for New Year's Eve because I felt it took away from me. Yet as I got older, I appreciate how important they all were to my mom and she was to them. It made us all richer because of the way she connected with these people. Mom welcomed in new members of the family, in-laws, fiancés, friends of her kids, because if the kids loved them, she would love them too. She keeps in touch with Aunt Ruth every week after the passing of my father, who's on the phone with friends of 40 years almost every day in the rehab. That is the loyalty that she inspired in people. When she would talk with you, she would often say, "Don't worry about me, how are you?" Yet this only drew us all closer to her, because she cared about us more than herself sometimes. I hope that I can be better about my connections, family, and friends, and honor her by her example. So as I say goodbye to my mom, I'm still going to talk with her frequently and share my joys and challenges and adventures. I'm going to continue to cook out of love for others. I will reach out more to family and friends and try to honor her belief that nothing is more important than family, friends, and how you treat them. Wow, my time must be up, so I have one more sentence. Mom, I love you and will miss you dearly. Thank you.
So anyone that knows me, I try to talk off the cuff and from the heart, but I did write something down, and I think I can get through this after hearing all the kind words and expressions from everyone that cared so much about her. Well, maybe not get through it entirely.
Poll 7.
Okay. So as my mom, I'm very similar. I care more about how someone else feels than myself all the time. So this is hard for me to say because I worry about all her friends from all over the country. So to begin with, thank you all for coming today to memorialize my mom and give support to our family. Many of her closest friends and family could not be here in person, but I want you to know that I know you're with us virtually. And all the phone calls and texts have been greatly appreciated. You are here with us. So I'm going to start by reciting a poem. And I'm going to change my mask for this. It's ironic these rainbow-colored masks are sitting outside because over the last few days, a poem came to mind that I learned in 2nd grade. Mrs. Brigliadoro from Tunistai Elementary gave us a challenge. Whoever could learn the poem would be asked to recite it during our assembly. My mom helped me memorize it, and I was chosen. I was shy, but my mom encouraged me to do it. The poem itself reminds me of my mom in so many ways. So between the colors of black and white, there lives a land that's known best by sight. But being best isn't everything, for colors dance and colors sing. Colors laugh and colors cry. Turn off the lights and colors seem to die. But then you feel every feeling there is, from the grumpiest grump to the fizziest fizz. And you, and I know well, each has a taste, and each has a smell, and each has a wonderful story to tell. Similar to the words of this poem, my mom was more than black and white. Yes, she was steadfast in her beliefs and loyal to her family and friends. However, to truly know my mom, she was a spectacular rainbow of colors, always ready to brighten the day. As we heard from my brothers, my mom was a giving and caring person. She spread her sunshine through volunteering and advocating for human rights and children's needs. She hosted get-togethers for friends and family, welcoming everyone. And she was always taking requests for her to make your favorite cookies, so she would have them there when you came to her house. My mom would wear her bright colored shirts, especially the purple, turquoise, and yellow ones. And I would comment, "Wow, that's a bright shirt." And knowing that I would go out into public with this bright shirt, and she would retort, "I like it. They are happy colors." So even in pain, she never complained. She stayed positive and wanted to spread her kindness and positivity to others. I was fortunate to live within an 18-minute drive to my mom. I say 18 minutes because she said, "You can come more often. You're only 18 minutes away." And 18 is a good number because it means life. Chai. This was one of the greatest gifts to my family and I. She was part of our lives in every way. She was there for every basketball game, school celebration, holidays. She knew my friends and I knew hers, both near and far. They would play a big part in both our lives as everyone became extended family and support. Her love was felt by all, and we will always have special memories of my mom. So I want to share two of those special gifts she gave to me, although there were many more. The first being that my mom always included me with her friends. Growing up in Wayne, New Jersey, my father and her had some of the most amazing friendships. The bridge group and beyond, whether it be Christmases at the halls or celebrations together when they came together in so many different ways. My mom cherished these friendships, and I could see why. After my father passed away, they always included her as the only single member of their close-knit group. They wrapped their hearts and arms around her. Even when she moved to Florida, they kept in touch at least on a weekly basis, if not daily. And I always knew that, but found that out more when I sat with her in the hospital and she was getting calls. They were worried why she didn't return the calls or what was going on. And I was the one that was able to be in touch with them and share step by step. That's 50 years of friendship she had with them. Nobody can take that away, nobody ever will. However, my mom was doubly blessed when she finally accepted she wasn't in New Jersey anymore. She decided to join my family and be an active member of our synagogue. When she joined CBI, her life changed as she found a Chavurah group that meant so much to her and probably saved her life because she was not going to be alone. Again, she was the only single woman in a group of couples, but that didn't matter. They welcomed her with open hearts. And the friendships blossomed into the most loving friendships. At that point, she was teaching the ladies, and this is important, her favorite game of Mahjong, because she wanted to have a Mahjong group down here and people she could play with. She asked me if I want to learn too, and she asked me for years and years before that, but how many people my age that work 2 jobs really have time for Mahjong? Well, I got a group together of my friends, and we all laughed that this is what every one of our moms had begged us to do at some point in our lives. I loved it, and so did my friends. We played with my mom, and we taught our daughters, who then passed it along to some of their friends during the pandemic. We had 3 generations playing together, and my mom would beam whenever Shayla or I would call Mahjong. My friends laughed with my mom as she was known as Cool Renee on Facebook. When my brother created that name, he might not have known how cool she really was at the time. That being said, I want to say I love you, Mom, and I will miss you. I will continue to pay it forward, or in Mahjong, play it forward, and make sure everyone is taken care of the way you took care of family, friends, and loved ones. When I see a rainbow, I'll make sure I slow down, as you always told me to do, and think of its beauty. I love you, and You won't be alone in this. Thank you.
Thank you to all the family and the friends who shared with us here today. You know, when I had the privilege of knowing Renee for all these years, and when we spoke on the phone the other day with Alan and David, Karen and Eric, the one thing that kept coming up over and over again was the impact she had on so many other people. You kept hearing the word kind reiterated over and over again by everybody who came up here. You know, I don't know if there's coincidence or just bashert, it's meant by in God's plan, but you know, last week in the Torah we started reading about Rivka, Renee's Hebrew name, our matriarch, a woman who was found by Abraham's servant Eliezer to marry Abraham's son Isaac. And the reason why Eliezer chose her was because of her kindness, because of her compassion. And not just for human beings. The Torah tells us she watered, not only gave Eliezer water, but his camels too. And I mean, and you hear about Renee and all the things that she did, the kindnesses, Ort, all the fundraising walks, going to Ebenezer for our Feed the Community program, Patterson Day in Patterson, New Jersey, National Council of Jewish Women. She was generous and kind, and that was the woman she was. Truly, if Eliezer was looking for a bride for Abraham's son today, he would have chosen Renee Markus, this Rivka, because of her great compassion, because of her kindness. That compassion, that kindness translated to all the relationships that she built in her life with so many. And it reminds me of a dictum that comes from our Mishnah, where Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa used to say, "One in whom the spirit of his fellow man take delight, in that one does the Spirit of God take delight. And in one whom the spirit of his fellow creatures does not take delight, in him the Spirit of the All-Present does not take delight." Hanina ben Dosa taught us a very valuable lesson in ancient times. If you're liked by other people, God likes you. If you're not liked by others, God doesn't like you much either. Everyone loved Renee. They didn't just like her. Everyone loved Renee. And I hope and I pray that you know that God, filled with love, is embracing her precious soul at this moment. And that precious soul will continue, I pray, to help inspire all of you who knew her to be that kind of person that cares enough about your fellow human beings to make a difference in the world. To stand up and shout, to make a difference, and let your lives be a blessing, as was Renee's. Zichrona livracha. Let's take a moment of silence that all of us might offer our own thoughts and prayers as we continue silently. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of our people. Let the tender memories we have of Renee Markus, whose words, actions, and personality enriched our lives, now fill our hearts. And from the thought of them, let us receive that hallowed inspiration that will serve us as a beacon as we proceed on our way in life. Friends, I'll ask you kindly to rise as Cantor continues with the memorial prayer. Let's do the memorial prayer.
El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina Im Kiddushim Uteorim Kizohar Harakia Masirim Et Nishmat Rivka Ben Natan V'Pnina Shelcha Leolama Baal Rachamim Yastireha B'Seter Knafav Leolamim Veitzror Bitzror HaChaim Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'tanuach B'shalom Al Mishkava Al Mishkava V'nomar Amen.
O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure. To the soul of Renee Markus, who has gone to her eternal home, Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed in the land of the living. May her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. The eternal God is now her portion. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. The Lord has given, and now the Lord has taken from us. But blessed be the name of God. For those who mourn and those who wish, we join together in the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitgadash me Rabbah, ve'alma divra chirute ve'amlich malchute, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'galav izman kariv imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'lamei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekucha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace on high send peace and comfort to all who mourn and all the bereaved, and we say, amen. Friends, please be seated. Before we conclude this afternoon, I wish to thank all of you for your attendance here this afternoon for this service for Renee. Burial will take place on Wednesday at Cedar Park Cemetery in New Jersey, where she will once again be reunited with her husband, Stanley. The family requests any donations made in her memory be made to the National Council of Jewish Women Children's Projects. The family will be receiving today between 5 and 9 p.m. at the Markus residence at 7579 Imperial Drive, 601A in Boca Raton. We will remember and sanctify Renee's name, memorialize her name here at Congregation B'nai Israel during the period of Shiva and Shloshim every Friday night and Saturday morning at our Shabbat services. This time we're going to conclude with a melody that Renee found much to her liking and spoke of the strength and quality not only of Renee, but of women as well, as Cantor continues and we conclude with Miriam's song.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long.
Lech kishilach Adonai, go your way. Renee, for God has called you. Lech Adonai imach. Go your way and may God be with you. V'halach lefanecha tzidkecha k'vod Adonai asvecha. May your righteousness go before you and the glory of God receive you. In the words of our tradition, we say to those who mourn, Hamakom yenachem etchem, b'toch shara v'letzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort and sustain you among all who mourn in Zion and in Jerusalem. Thank you all for joining us here this afternoon. This concludes our service.